You know I've just about had it with you. Don't you backsass me! You only have one arm! Sorry about that. Welcome back to Undercooked Creepypasta. Well, would you look at that? We're at the second to last episode of the season, and what do we have in store for you today? It's a Chowder one. It's called Dead Mung. Dead Dung. Also, I posted a poll in the Discord, link in the description if you want to join. I asked you guys, I gave you guys a couple choices on what the last creepypasta of the season will be, and you guys picked SMB3 Blood Whistle. That one is a fucking pain to sit through, and that one's even more of a pain to read. I know, because I read it for Utonical years ago when that channel was still up, but I stupidly deleted the channel. And to make matters worse, there are no copies of that video floating around anywhere on the internet that we know of currently. So I think that would be a pretty suitable punishment for being a dumbass and deleting that channel. So enjoy that one next week when it drops. And for now, enjoy Dead Mung. My cousin Morgan used to work at Cartoon Network. He used to produce episodes of such shows as Chowder, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, and others alongside a Filipino girl named Maria and Vera. But wouldn't it be Filipina? Filipina's feminine and Filipinos masculine? Anyway, Vera, another girl who was of Korean descent. One day, he had an idea for an episode of Chowder, entitled Dead Mung. He gave me the script and tape he made of Dead Mung. He told me that he had written the original script while Maria revised the mistakes and Vera had done the animation for the tape. Naturally, I was excited because he had never brought home anything from work before. Looking at the title, I thought it was some sort of morbid joke he made, and I figured it would turn out to be just a regular episode. When I did watch the tape, I was very dumbfounded. The original intro appeared as normal except at the very end when the title was shown and it immediately cut to black afterwards. The usual clapping couldn't be heard either. Instead, there was a low growl that lasted for what felt like an eternity. It wasn't like a regular dog growling either. It sounded more like a combination between a wolf and a grizzly bear getting angry, and the creature was about to rip someone's face off. Then the screen came up saying, Dead Mung. It was nothing special. It was just black text and a very fancy font against a blood-red background, and then it showed Chowder trying to cook something like starfish fruit pudding in the kitchen. As usual, he kept messing up the dish, getting more frustrated each time he fucked up and fucking up even more. At this time, Mung entered the kitchen. Thick, heavy smoke, like the mist of dry ice, filled the air because Chowder had burned whatever he was making. Mung, now very angry, started yelling at Chowder. "You son of a bitch! What the hell are you trying to do here? Kill me? I'd like to see you try!" At that moment, Chowder gouged out Mung's eyes with his bare hands, and blood began to pour profusely out of his master's eye sockets. He then shoved Mung into the oven. Mung tried to get out and gasped for air, and then he asked one last thing. "What are you trying to make?" Chowder answered with, "Schnitzel." Mung burned to death in the oven. Chowder then took him out of the oven and let him cool. Then, after cooling, Chowder pulled out a butcher knife from his back pocket and ripped out all of the intestines and organs. Someone, a customer, came in at that moment and saw Chowder pull out Mung's innards. Chowder threw the butcher knife, hitting the customer in the eyeball, skewering it. Chowder skinned Mung and threw it out. He began eating Mung with a demonic, demented, and contorted face while blood seeped out of his mouth. Truffles appeared and joined in on the feast. Chowder finished Mung and threw his bones away. Truffles then exited the room with blood dripping down her face. Chowder stared at the camera with that demonic, twisted look on his face for about 3 minutes. He screamed like a banshee chipmunk being tortured alive, and then the screen went to black. The text appeared in a plain dark blue font, saying, "The End," against a river of blood. I asked my cousin why he made this horrible cartoon. He didn't answer. A week later, I got a call from my puzzled aunt saying he had murdered several children and was going to go to prison for it. I told her about the cartoon he had made and how it was a Chowder cartoon that was never put on the air for obvious reasons. Now, when I visit my cousin in prison, I try to ask him why he made the cartoon. He still won't tell me, even to this day. Okay, so... dead Mung. More like dead writing, am I right? I mean, from the very first sentence, we start checking boxes on lots of these creepypasta cliches. I mean, yeah, my cousin works at Cartoon Network. Yeah. I'm sure everyone's cousin just happens to be an animation producer who can just waltz out of the studio with a tape of Chowder murdering his boss. I mean, yeah, right. And my uncle works at Nintendo, and my dad works at Xbox, okay? And then we jump into the actual thing itself, and boy, we got more cliches. The logo was spooky for the episode, and it was against a blood red background, and there was a low growl in the background. That's just what happens in the bathroom after I have Chipotle, okay? It's nothing special. And then Mung steps into the room, and he starts swearing like a damn sailor. Okay, yeah. We're just supposed to believe the television censors were just out for a bite during the making of this? And then the whole thing of like cooking Mung and then eating him, and then Truffles just comes in and is like, okay, yeah, sure, cannibalism sounds fun, and then starts joining in on the feasting of Mung. And then Chowder just plants his face against the screen as if it's anything other than padding. And then you get the jump scare scream at the end. It sounds like a banshee chipmunk. What is a banshee chipmunk? Next, you're gonna tell me there's an actual turducken animal out there. Okay, yeah. And pigs can fly, and unicorns are real, okay? And then the cousin goes and murders kids and ends up in prison for it, as if he wouldn't already end up in legal trouble for making this shit on company time and wasting company resources for it. I mean, this is just stupid! It's stupid! This gets 1 out of 5 dog shits. The only reason why I'm not putting it at a 0 is because the actual grammar is readable. I mean, it's an actual readable pasta, okay? It's actually decent in that regard. So to wrap things up and put a pretty little bow on top, predictable setup, lazy shock value, no originality, no logic. And that's it for Dead Brain Cells, Dead Mung, the creepypasta, on Undercooked Creepypasta. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to this, because I didn't enjoy reading it, but I enjoyed tearing it apart. And tune in next time for who knows what. I don't know anymore. I gotta go reset my brain. You only have one arm left. I would shut your mouth if you don't want to lose that other one. I can start with this finger, I can go to this finger, and then I can go to this little fucking finger right here.